This week marked a significant shift in the state Supreme Court, as now liberals will have a majority after Justice Janet Protasiewicz took the oath of office this week. Now, during her speech, it's kind of usually very ceremonial. She talked about protecting freedoms and remaining impartial on the bench, but she didn't really bring up a lot of rhetoric like she did on the campaign trail. She didn't talk about abortion access. She didn't talk about redistricting. But looking ahead, I mean, that just sparked the whole conversation going forward, because just 24 hours after she was sworn in, or excuse me, less than 24 hours, liberals and progressives brought forth a new redistricting lawsuit. Now, what that could mean, they challenged the state legislative maps. They are not challenging the congressional maps. But ultimately, if new maps are drawn, JR, that could dramatically change who you vote for and who represents you here in the state capitol.
Well, it also changes the dynamic in the Capitol of like how money is spent, what taxes are sent. Remember, right now you have a Republican-controlled legislature and Democratic Governor Tony Evers at odds almost everything. They struck a few deals this summer, was rare for them in the 4 years he's been in office. If you have a different control, let's say you have a Democratically controlled state Senate, for example, now you have an ally for Evers, these conversations with the legislature, which can make Republicans have to negotiate more, give more. However, if you keep GOP control, it's the same standoff going forward. So these maps could change everything, especially with, we're talking $4 billion plus in the state coffers end of this 2-year period for the next budget. There are huge stakes with who's in control of the legislature next year.
And GOP leaders were very quick to criticize this new lawsuit. I mean, it was expected. We knew these issues would bring back to the court because liberals want to take advantage of this 4-3 majority now. Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu questioned the timing of it, saying, you know, this was way too quick, too fast. We also heard Assembly Speaker Robin Vos saying Protasiewicz should recuse herself on this case because she called the maps rigged on the campaign trail. Now, that's not likely to happen here, JR, but it could bring back forth the issue of recusal rules going forward.
A couple things to watch. Liberals have tried to put a recusal rule in place for years, basically a standard of when a judge should step off of a case. Conservatives have said no. They've also seen a change in the court with conservatives where they meet more in private on administrative issues. Liberals want to bring that back into the public eye. Oh, by the way, we have a conservative Chief Justice, Annette Ziegler, elected by the old conservative majority. Now you have a liberal one. Might there be a move to change who the Chief Justice is? That's going to be fascinating to watch because the liberals have the votes right now to change how the court is run, but she's still a figurehead. She's still the person who has like this administrative control on the state constitution. I'm not predicting anything, but it'll be fascinating to watch how that plays out on big things like the redistricting lawsuit.
And this wasn't the only news about the state court. All just in an entire week, they also voted, liberals, justices, voted to fire the director of the state courts. That's Randy Koschnick, who was in the position for 6 years. But, you know, looking over time, I mean, liberals are going to take advantage of this. They don't want to have someone who is kind of a little bit tied to conservatives and who served in the role when the Supreme Court was controlled by conservatives.
This court is dysfunctional. It has been for a long time. There are personality conflicts. There are political conflicts. We have seen over years where conservatives hated the way that Shirley Abrahamson ran the court years ago. Liberals don't like the way Pat Rogansack and now Annette Ziegler run the court. Now that liberals are in charge, they're going to flex their muscles and say, okay, we're going to dictate how things go. Koschnick, he challenged Abrahamson back in 2009. He's a conservative, but he's more part of the wrong team, right? He's a conservative. He's hired by conservatives. Liberals want their own person. But it could portray other things with this court, how it's run, how they do things, all stuff to watch in the coming years.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. That will do it for this week. Thanks so much.